The law of polarity. This is one of the laws of the universe that states that everything has its pair. Up and down, left and right, love and hate, hot and cold, addition and subtraction. And in order for there to be a good guy, somebody has to be the bad guy. I'm Ty. Welcome to my YouTube channel where I talk about whatever I want to talk about. Now, a black woman gave birth to me. You know that means that I'm straightforward, honest, and that I try to be myself. And in this society, you pay a very, very, very high price for those things. The price I paid to stay true to myself, to respect my morals and values, is that I'm labeled as a villain. So how'd I get here? Well, I'm pretty straight up and honest with the people around me, and that gets misconstrued as being abrasive and aggressive. I'm the type of person that would be in a room that has 100 people in it and be the only one willing to say what's on everybody's mind, but that gets confused or misconstrued as being a disruption, as being an interruption. I am the type of person to have no power, but to speak up to and challenge people who have power, because I believe that we're all human and we're all equal and nobody's better than anybody. But that gets me labeled as being provoking and rebellious. I like to do my own thing instead of going along with the crowd, instead of following what everybody else does. If I want to dye my hair pink or dye my hair brown and put beads in it, I'm gonna do it. I don't really care what people think, but that gets me labeled as someone that does too much. So I've come to the understanding that being the bad guy or being labeled as a villain actually has nothing to do with actually being a bad person or being a villain. It just has to do with being your authentic self, being straightforward, being upfront, being honest. I'm someone that has been labeled as rude, mean, difficult, abrasive, and disrespectful for simply being honest, for asking questions, for being curious, for trying to respect others. For many years, I would try to fight against it. I would tell myself, I know I'm not perfect, but I'm not a bad person. I know sometimes I can be difficult, but I'm not mean. I would try to prove that. I would try to prove to people that I'm a good person, prove to people that I'm not mean, prove to people that I'm not abrasive and aggressive. I just ended up in a cycle of becoming a people pleaser. Being a people pleaser didn't work out too well for me because I got used and abused and taken advantage of and treated badly. One day, I just had an epiphany. Instead of me trying to prove that I'm a good person and trying to fight back against this narrative or fight back against my reputation now as being the bad guy, as being the villain, I'll just be it. I will just be the best villain that I can be. And wow, ever since then, I have found such a deep inner peace, a true peace. Because I no longer care what people think. If y'all think I'm a villain, then which one? Which villain? From what story? How should I be that villain? Really, when people describe me as a bad person, I'm like, how can I add to the plot of this narrative that they're trying to paint? I allow people to think what they want. I was so focused on trying to be perceived as a good person and fighting against being labeled the villain that I never realized how fun it is. It's so fun. And since embracing my inner villain, since becoming the bad guy, I've learned a few things. Now, the first thing that I learned is that the weight of expectation is completely lifted. People think I'm a bad person, so they expect me to show up as the worst version of myself. It gave me the liberty and space to live life and make mistakes and grow and try new things and kind of just like live life to the fullest. Now I can go and dye my hair and put beads on and wear whatever I want because I don't really care what people think. They think the worst of me anyway. They think I'm a freak, so I might as well do it. One of the best things about embracing my inner villain was the weight being lifted. Look at this, I'm starting a YouTube channel because I don't care. I don't care what people think. Start that YouTube channel, start that business, open that, I don't know, try that new hobby, do that, do whatever, because people already expect you to show up as the worst version of yourself anyways. So who cares if it doesn't go well? People already think it's not going to go well. They think low of you. People think low of me, so I just do whatever I want. The second thing I learned ever since embracing my inner bad guy is that toxic people avoid me. I tell people all the time, manipulators, toxic people, they know who to choose. People have heard about me. No one is ever gonna look at me and think I'm a sucker and think that they could try to use me and abuse me. I'm telling you. I've noticed that the emotional vampires, the narcissists, the manipulators, people who take advantage of others usually have a type. They go after people who are timid and kind and nice and shy. I don't have those characteristics. People describe me as abrasive and aggressive and mean. So toxic people, they avoid me. They do. Everyone kind of views me as this big disruptive, mean type of instant crash out type of person. So what that did for me was toxic people. I don't really deal with toxic people. I'm not even gonna hold you. You know, toxic people usually avoid the outspoken. They avoid the confident. They avoid the intelligent. And so embracing my inner villain, my inner bad guy has really like freed me of toxic people. Another thing I learned is setting my boundaries and respecting myself has become so much easier because people already think the worst of you. So when people disrespect me and treat me really badly, I just exit the relationship because they already expect me to do something like that. When people don't know how to respect me, I just walk right out of their lives with no hesitation because I'm the bad guy. Remember, I'm the villain. Of course people think to themselves, of course he's gonna do something like that. I'll give you an example of a boundary. One of my boundaries is that I don't allow people to yell at me. People yell at me, I instantly block you out of my life on socials and out of my life, and I act like you don't exist. And like I said, people think low of me, so can't tell you the last time that I got yelled at, just because setting my boundaries now as the villain is so much easier because people respect me. Because remember, I'm labeled as the loud and abrasive and disruptive and all the negative things that you could think. And so setting my boundaries is a lot easier. I want to end this video by saying embracing my inner villain, embracing being labeled as the bad guy has changed my life for the better, in my opinion. But I won't ignore the price you have to pay for being authentically yourself. For being authentically yourself, people have lost their jobs, people have lost their careers, people have lost opportunities, people have even lost their lives. So as much as, you know, I'm trying to make it lighthearted and funny, haha, you know, embrace your inner villain, I didn't want to end this video without being honest, saying that while on one hand I'm saying, yeah, be yourself, embrace your inner villain, do your thing, I also don't want to act like we don't live in a society that shuns people for being authentically themselves. There is a real price you have to pay. People act like reputation isn't a big thing, but it really is. Embrace your inner bad guy. 2025, it will set you free. If you got this far into the video, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you have the time and or energy, leave a like, leave a comment, and even subscribe if you have that energy, you have that time, even subscribe. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Peace.